Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop ignoring StretchCast here, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit and kind of go through everything that we have and kind of show you the latest and greatest of what we're doing here and give you a sense of where we're going to continue to develop and move things forward. So for those of you that are not familiar with StretchCast, we started this last year. This is a full streaming software that is designed specifically for sports and to a greater extent intercollegiate athletics. Really, we've taken what we feel like everything that's needed for one person to run a multi-camera stream in the college athletic space, and we've put it inside of this program. So obviously, there's a couple different flavors of StretchCast. We have standard StretchCast Standard. We have StretchCast Premium. As we move through this application, I will go over what are standard features and what are premium features as we demo the product for you here today. So when you load up StretchCast for the first time, obviously everything's blank and you get this setup screen. So the setup is pretty simple to start. You go ahead and pick your sport. We're gonna do basketball as our demo today, but obviously we have sport-specific graphics and sport-specific scoreboard controllers and interfaces with both Sportscast and your XML files, whether you're using StatCrew, PrestoStats, Genius. Obviously with Genius right now, you need the in-arena utility to use that with NCAA Live Stats. And then for NAIA customers, DAC Stats also works with this. So we've tried to make sure that all four of those items work with this system, but they're all obviously sport specific. So you got to choose your sport and then you're going to go through and select your teams. So the key, you go through here and you put the full name of the school and you put the short name for the scoreboard. Obviously, depending on the graphics, which we'll show you in a couple screens, most of the time that's a 4-letter max abbreviation. Some of our scoreboards can do a 5-letter max abbreviation. You choose the logo, so you just browse and find it on your computer. And then the color. If you know the X code of your team or your opponents, you can put it directly in, but we also have this color dropper feature. So we're obviously, for Drew, we're using the green here, but if we wanted to use the blue, all we have to do is select it, and obviously we'll go back to the green here and go with that. And then you do the same thing for the visiting team. We've got Elizabethtown here. We put E-Town as the short name, find the logo, and do the same thing with the color for the logo. Use the color dropper to get that color. And then project settings wise, since you guys are doing sports, we always default this to 720p 60. This can do 1080, and in this can also do 720 30, and a couple steps along the way because we do have this set up for European customers as well, who may be running at 25 frames per second with PAL. So this is a PAL and NTSC supported program. Not that we've really marketed this in the European space. It's just kind of nice to have. So you'll see some options that you won't necessarily want to pick. So obviously, if you guys purchase this, you'll want to work with us, and we'll walk you through and kind of show you how to set it up the first time. But you always want to pretty much be on that 720p 60. That's what you're most likely going to be streaming out at. So there's two ways to navigate this. You can obviously navigate up here to the left side and go and select video input, or you can just click this next button and you'll go here. So, pardon me. So obviously this is where you choose your video devices, and obviously I have a camera and a Magewell set up right here. So that's kind of the primary way to go. In terms of our primary camera here, but we also have full NDI support. So I have a couple different NDI cameras. Obviously the one here I just have an iPad set up with an NDI app, and it's pointed to my daughter's play set in the backyard to give you guys an idea of the sun's just starting to peek out and get over my house here in Arizona as it is 8:30 in the morning. And then I also have an NDI source from the front of my house where we were watching that our OTT apps, and this is what I talked about, the OTT app falling asleep. So we've got just kind of the generic marketing material for Roku right now in the background there. But this is obviously the first mention I'll make of StretchCast Standard versus StretchCast Premium. StretchCast Standard is going to be 2 cameras maximum, while the Premium is going to be 4. And I'm often asked the reasoning behind this. Pardon me. And really what it comes down to is the standard application. We know most of you guys are running 1 to 2 camera setups at the majority of your sports. Obviously basketball and football might be different, but for the majority, especially your Olympic sports, the vast majority of our clients are running 1 to 2 cameras. We also know that in most cases, you guys are running laptops. So what we want to be able to do is we want to have a product that's not overly bloated. We want to make sure that it works on a large number of laptops, that you can get a $700 or $800 laptop and run this program no problem, still with its full motion video graphics and a lot of the features that it has. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't want to bloat the standard and have too many cameras set there. So obviously you need a lot more laptop wise to run 4 cameras versus running 2. So we want to make sure that we put some limitations in there to make sure that, if we're serious and you want to do 4 cameras, we want to bring you into the premium product, but we also want to help you make sure that you've got the proper laptop to be able to run it and fully utilize the software. So one of the reasons there. So obviously we're showing 3 cameras, but NDI, I mentioned it in passing. It's the future here. Network device interface. New Tech, the makers of the TriCaster, they kind of developed it and gave it out to the community about 4 years ago. And a lot of people are doing some very cool things. So basically what NDI does is you put your video on the network, and anywhere within the network environment, you can be with your computer and actually pull up that video. So there's a couple different ways to do it. Obviously we have an iPad showing it right now. I'm gonna add a 4th camera here and hopefully not saturate my home internet. We're gonna use our refresh feature here to refresh our sources. And now we've got iPhone. So this will pull up and we'll have, yeah, I'm kind of saturating my network here, but we've got another source. So we've got way too many JDs on the screen now, but we'll deal with that later. But yeah, so basically these are just applications. So you can bring in as simply as you want. What you'd use like these iPad, iPhone, NDI apps for is like a coach's interview on the sideline, because they can't transmit audio. If you want to have a focus on your talent during halftime or something like that, good use for it. But NDI can also be used with primary sources. So how you do that is you can work through converter boxes. So I'm going to put Philip on the spot here and see if he has his handy dandy NDI Magewell converter box. And if not, he can go grab it. But he's going to hold that up when he has it. But our partners at Magewell do make a box that's pretty simple, and they've got a couple different flavors of it. They've got an HDMI version and an SDI version. And basically, yeah, that's blending in a little too much with your background there. There we go, Phil. So basically how that works on one side is it's got HDMI on one side, and it's got a network, yeah, HDMI on that side, and then it's got a network jack. It's got an Ethernet jack on the other. So basically you plug your camera in there and you plug that into your network. And theoretically, depending on how your campus is set up, you can then pull down that video feed anywhere within the campus. So when we talk about remote production and we talk about some of the things that we're going to have to do once we get back to sports with social distancing, one of the keys that we've been talking a lot about are how you can maybe produce a broadcast outside of the arena or outside of the playing field. So that's a great way to do it via NDI. We've had a couple different webinars on that. We had a remote production webinar earlier this year with the Collegiate Water Polo Association. CWPA has actually been doing remote productions through us for about 4 years. So they're not using NDI per se because they're doing remote productions, states thousands of miles away. But they basically have cameras at the field. They encode a feed, send it to us. They pull it back down on their end. They add commentary and graphics and then send it as a finished product to fans. So, so that's a great webinar to look back on. And then we also did one specifically for the NAIA a couple weeks ago, talking about potential of remote production, talked about a lot of these key things. But NDI is going to be the key to that. So keep that in mind as we go forward.
Hey, JD, I'm going to jump in.
Yep.
We've got a couple questions. One that I feel like is perfect timing is the NDI app. Jake asked, does it cost anything for the NDI app? Now, the converter that I showed, that does mostly for a hardware side, but from the app side, can you kind of explain the app you're using?
Yeah, most of the NDI camera apps cost between $10 and $20 on iOS, but obviously one of the great things there is that can be a one-time cost. So the same app that I'm using on my iPhone is running on my iPad. And because I have the same App Store account sharing both of those things. So it can be a one-time purchase that can go a long way. Now there are free NDI tools, but all of those are going to be computer-based. So what we can do here is I have this Magewell, plugged into the computer right now to bring my main video camera over here in. Now we can plug this into another computer and use some of the free NDI tools, which are available at ndi.tv. And you can make this Magewell signal, you can turn that into an NDI signal and use it elsewhere on your network. Was there another question, Philip?
For now, that's good. There's another one we'll get to later on. So Chris,
okay, cool.
Question a little bit later.
Okay, so obviously now we've got 4 camera sources here, and one of the things you'll see since we are running the premium version of StretchCast here, one of the options we have is for instant replay. Now you can select instant replay per camera. And you can also choose your duration. So a sport like basketball, we tend to look at 15 seconds being the proper duration time for going back and viewing, but we have durations all the way up to 60 seconds for a sport like football or soccer. Now, what you'll notice here is the memory usage needed increases depending on how many cameras you have selected for instant replay and how long your duration is. So we want to make sure if you're running the premium version and you're running wanting to run instant replay, we generally recommend that you have at least 16 gig of RAM in the computer. So today I'm going to leave this at 30 seconds, and I'm going to actually. We don't need instant replay on that camera, and we honestly don't need instant replay on this camera. We're just going to focus on the 2 cameras that have me, so I can do like a countdown or things like that to show you guys instant replay. So we've got that set up, so we'll have 2 cameras for instant replay. We'll show that at the end of the demo, but our instant replay is we feel pretty revolutionary how we're handling it, and we also have a new feature with our instant replay that I'll show you today. As well with the latest build that I have. Audio input, it's very similar to video input. I know better than on a Zoom call to start messing with the audio options here, but it's basically the same kind of pull down menu. You can pull in your audio sources. So you obviously have multiple ways to bring audio in. You can bring audio in through any of your cameras, any of your NDI devices that you're using with this system, or you can, plug a USB mixer into the system as well. Anything here can be handled on this page. You can also set individual settings in terms of volume. You can also set your master volume here. We also have an option that's called video follow. So what that option does, and obviously we've got documentation and we'll walk you through this, but if you're needing to take the one of your camera audios for one reason or another, so say based on your setup, you've got your announcers plugged into one of the cameras, we have the ability to turn video follow on, and every camera you choose, the audio from the camera that you selected will follow and be used on any of the shots you have. So it's a pretty cool feature. Obviously easiest to use if you've got like a USB mixer or something coming directly into the computer, but we do have the capabilities to help you guys through some creative scenarios in relation to cameras and streaming with the audio there. Graphics. Obviously, this is kind of the piece de resistance of StretchCast, and one of the reasons why we helped come up with this for you guys. So we've had a long-time partnership with formerly New Blue FX, now New Blue. They've recently rebranded themselves. And really that started back about 6 years ago, and it was to create sports graphics inside of Wirecast. We weren't happy with the graphics inside of Wirecast that hadn't changed, those scoreboards and everything over the years. And New Blue was just kind of getting in the market of doing live graphics, because their main business is post-production graphics. They do a lot of, television, documentary film, those sort of graphics that get put in post-production, credits, those sorts of things. So they got into live graphics, and they wanted to do sports. So we kind of met, and we helped them come up with their Titler Live sports product, which is still something available that you can buy if you're not using StretchCast to get kind of these same graphics. But then we kind of took it one step further, and we decided, hey, we've got all this great graphic capability. Let's throw a video mixer and some audio functions and instant replay in and make a fully fledged production software. So that's what we've done here with StretchCast, thanks to New Blue, and obviously the graphics are the key component here. So when you get premium or standard, you get right now these 3 base templates. We are eventually going to have 5 base templates. We're still working on 2 of them, and basically they're fully customizable in terms of graphics and colors and those sorts of things. Now, if you have premium, you can also make custom graphics, and you can import them. Premium comes bundled with the title designer software, to where you can make your own graphics from that and import them into this system. So that's a great way if your conference wants to have a similar scoreboard interface across the whole conference, and you want to customize one and make it, you're able to do that with the software. So we'll go through here, and I've already selected a few things. So we've got a scoreboard, a player comparison graphic, a team player matchup, and new thing in relation to instant replay, we've got a transition here, and we're excited to show what that can do here momentarily when we go over instant replay. Yep.
So Chris, the question he had was, is there a difference between StretchCast and what you get directly from New Blue when it comes to the software?
So what you get from New Blue is just going to be the graphics. So it's going to be a second. If you're wanting to use OBS or Wirecast or something like that, it's going to be 2 programs running on your computer at once. But the graphics are very, very similar, but you're just getting the graphics. You're not getting instant replay. You're not getting any of the bells and whistles we're showing here within StretchCast. You're just getting the graphics, the full motion video graphics. So we've got our graphics that we want for this. So we'll go ahead and move to the next one, which is data source. So This is kind of shows off the flexibility of StretchCast in terms of bringing in data sources to run the score bugs and also stats. So up here for Scoreboard, we have 3 options. We have manual, which allows you to just completely manually run the scoreboard. We have XML, which allows you to take the XML and automate it, or take the XML that you're producing from doing live stats and use that to automate your scoreboard. Obviously, you can do that. You can share that file, the XML file, locally across your own network. Or we also have the capability, if you're using live stats with Stretch Live, to pull it down from us and pull it down off the cloud to feed this software. And then the third option we have here is Sportscast. So we've been a longtime partner with Sportscast. And for those of you that are not familiar with that company, they produce score bots that plug into the back of your scoreboard controller. So basically you take one of the blank outputs from your scoreboard controller, you plug it into the score bot, and it can go over the local network or again over the cloud and be pulled down. And that will give you anything that's kept on the scoreboard controller. So obviously time is the big one there, because we're not going to be able to get time from the XML that you get. But then obviously score period for basketball, you'll get team fouls, you might have possession arrow, you might keep timeouts on that board. Whatever you keep on your scoreboard controller, you would have the ability to do that. So obviously that works best for timing sports. Some sports it doesn't work as well for, like baseball, softball. You don't get the base runners or anything with that. So you get basically the count and the line score, and you would have to go in and still add the base runners and that sort of thing. So there's certain sports where there's more of an advantage using the XML, and there's certain sports that there's more of an advantage using a score bot from Sportscast. Now, we're going to go ahead and choose manual here for today's exercise, and I'll show you what the manual scoreboard looks like and the options that you have there. The key I'll mention there is in terms of creating that score bug, all 3 of those options are available in the standard version of StretchCast. Now, when we move to stats, the next thing here in data source, this is a premium feature. So you will have access to all of the graphics that I'm going to show you for the rest of this, but you're going to have to manually input all of the things if you have StretchCast standard. But in premium, we have the ability to take the stats from a particular game and, the game you're playing, and be able to update those in real time. The other thing we have the ability to do is we have this spreadsheet mode as well. And if you use the spreadsheet mode, you can actually pull in season stats and things like that. And we've got, we can help you with a starter file if you need on Excel on how to do that. But that can read just like that. So you can pull season stats or the individual game stats. Again, it's a premium feature. We're going to show you how that works shortly as well. So we'll move down to the next thing, which is media. Basically, there are 2 things here. Media files are going to be just one-time playback files. So say you've got pregame video you want to run that says the broadcast will begin soon, or you've got like a standalone university spot you need to run at halftime. You can upload that as a media file. Below, we have video sequence. I'm going to click in and click out of this real quick to show you that it says commercial 1 here. So this is a commercial break builder and basically a playlist builder. So you can build multiple commercial breaks for your broadcast and mix up your commercials and basically have them run through. So you're not running the same commercial break with the same 3 spots in order all the time. You can create multiple commercial breaks and be able to do that. Streaming. So obviously this is pretty straightforward. If you are a Stretch Live customer, you go ahead and type in your username and your password, you log in, and you select the video channel that you want to use for the broadcast. It's pretty simple. But one of the things we do have here is we do have other destinations as well now built in here. The one thing I will say with StretchCast is we are built to send video to one place and one place only at the moment. So that can be sending to other places like Facebook or YouTube if you're doing a press conference or something like that. If you need to syndicate, we do have a partnership with Switchboard Live, which is a great syndication service. You send one video to them, set up in the back end where all it needs to go, and it will syndicate it out to any place that you need to go. That one video output as well works and I'll show you in the mainstream. So you can either choose to stream, or you can choose an NDI output to send it out to an encoder on your network or someplace else. You can also set it as an HDMI output and use a external encoder if you wish as well. Those are all options in the streaming setup. And the last option here is the recording setup. If you are using StretchCast Standard, this is going to be pretty simple. You have program output is your record output, and that's the option you have. So you set your file location, and if you want the file name to have a certain prefix. Now, premium users have two additional options. We now have the ability to save instant replay clips as part of this. So we'll show you how you clip an instant replay. And basically what will save on your system are every camera angle whenever you decide, okay, this is a spot where I want instant replay, based on the duration that we set here in video input. So we have 30 seconds. So basically every time you hit replay that you want to replay something cool happened, you'll get every camera angle you have set for instant replay for 30 seconds with all of those angles downloaded directly to your computer. The final thing is record all inputs, which is ISO recording. So basically how this works is it's gonna record the cameras prior to audio, graphics, everything else. It's gonna record the cameras as they come into the system. So a great feature use case of this is kind of a backup for your main center court or 50-yard line camera. If the coaches film, coaches have issues, the SD card fills for them, something weird happens, you actually can record in real time as the game's going on a coach's feed like situation, because it's just going to be the audio from the camera and the video. It's not going to have the announcers. It's not going to have graphics. So it will fit every necessary quota for film exchange. So that's how you set everything up in StretchCast. I think there might be some questions before I start showing you guys how to use it. Anything that needs to be addressed here, Philip?
Do you have one question? Does everyone in the conference need the pro version to use custom graphics, or just one to create them?
I mean, yeah, you in theory would just need one. You can import graphics in the rest of them. But it all depends on what standards you're setting as a conference. Now, if you're requiring multi-camera or, those sorts of things, it might be better if everybody in the conference has premium. I'm honest to a fault. I mean, that is something that you could do if you guys really wanted to, but it's not necessarily going to be the best option in every scenario.
All right. So normally,
yep.
Oh yeah, sorry. So Brian asked, for the data, could you use Daktronics CG for the data?
Well, so basically we've got Sportscast integration. We don't have direct integration with the DAC CG. So no, that would not work. So you could still obviously use the DAC CG as it's designed and burn it into the video. But yeah, we don't interface directly with that product, unfortunately.
All right, and another one, J. Brian asked, can you use SDI input with StretchCast or just HDMI and NDI? You can use SDI if you have the converter. Magwell has one that works, but there's other it too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we take every type of capture device on the market, so there's no specificity to HDMI versus SDI. I mean, versus you can take composite in here if you really wanted to use it, but obviously we hope that everybody's using HD at this point, but we support capture devices of all makes and sizes, so from the Blackmagic devices to Magewell to other devices on the market. Okay, so normally you would hit done. I've already kind of pre-rendered and set everything up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose our camera, and I'm gonna choose the scoreboard here. And now I mentioned that I was gonna show you guys this in manual mode. One of the cool things that I really like about our manual mode is you're looking at this and saying, okay, well, it'd be a whole lot for somebody to try to switch in real time and, you know, start the clock and make sure the shot clock's going and, you know, reset the shot clock and, you know, restart it when it needs to go and so on and so forth. So one of the things we do have, if you're wanting to do this, now, first and foremost, I will show you that you can simply hide those clocks if you don't want to run them. That is obviously option number one. But option number two, what you have here is we've got the scoreboard tool. So if you follow the instructions here, and if you connect on another computer here on the same network, you can actually control the scoreboard from another computer. It could be from a browser. So basically what you have here is this can be on an iPad, on an iPhone, anything like that. So you can have somebody else running the scoreboard. Obviously, we go through here and we set what we want the time to be. So say there's 6 minutes left in the first quarter, and we can run the shot clock, and we can do all of that, and we can do this from another computer on press row. So that is a cool piece of functionality that we do have available in this system for manually running the clock. Now, obviously, if you chose, we'll do this real quick, but say you want to run it from the XML for this game, I'll go ahead and copy and paste that in. You'll notice that the score and all of those things will automate based on the XML, but you still have the ability to run the clock. And if you get, you know, you can still run the timeouts, things that aren't kept in there. Obviously, this game's finalized, but you'd also have the ability for bonuses to show and that sort of thing as well. Basically, you can see run that, and a timeout goes away, but you're still running the clock, but the scoreboard, the period, all that stuff will be automated because you're taking it from that XML. So another cool thing that you can do are these player comparison graphics. And I showed you guys basically how to do it from the XML file here. So we're taking the live XML, and it's creating this graphic for us. And obviously we just brought the players headshots in very easily. You just click on them and change them out in a quick order. It goes by the tags in the XML. So obviously we don't want this to say TP. We want this to say points. So if you just make that change real quick, it goes very, very quickly. And say instead of minutes, we want to show assists. So you'll see that changes real quick. And we can go ahead and take this graphic full, and you'll see it's a full motion video graphic. And obviously with any of these, that's a comparison graphic between two players on the same team. We have this visitor home toggle up here. And And then we also have the ability to do a player comparison graphic between players on the two different teams. So again, we do kind of the same thing here. We can change points and rebounds from TP and TREV. And then we realize, okay, these are two guards. Okay, maybe rebounds isn't the best thing to do. So we'll go ahead and maybe choose steals. And you'll see they both had steals in this game. So again, if say we want to choose that other player that we were spotlighting on the other school, all we have to do is choose her. And then if we just go through here quickly, load her graphic up, it will render for a moment here, and we'll go ahead and take that full, and we can pull that down. So they're all full motion video graphics, and they're all customizable, and they all work very, very well with basically being able to run this as one person. I need to go back in my setup here and see why I lost my phone quickly and get that back, because that will be important for the next thing we do here. Okay, so we talked about instant replay. I'm going to go ahead and jump to that real quick. So basically how you start instant replay, and I've got to just rearrange some of my Zoom windows here. You click this instant replay button up top. Now, since we selected 30 seconds as our duration, we'll need to wait 30 seconds to have a replay clip. Now, you can obviously stop this early if something happens in a critical span, but it will work best if you wait the full 30 seconds before entering another replay here. But basically, we've got this handy dandy timer here that counts down the 30 seconds for you. And now we can do instant replay. So I'm gonna try to be talented here, and so you can see my hand in both screens. So we're gonna say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we're gonna hit instant replay or enter replay. So as you can see, I do not have instant replay selected for that phone, so my apologies there. Obviously, you want to set this up and test this all ahead of time. So now we have instant replay set for all 4 of the cameras. So we'll go ahead and try this again. So basically now we're going to be able to scrub all 4 of our cameras, but what you'll see, what makes our instant replay unique, I feel, is you still have the ability very easily with one operator to choose what your live camera is while you're looking at the instant replay. You can still run your broadcast. You don't have an instant replay window that's the total focus of everything. You're still able to do anything that you need to do. So again, we're going to go here 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we'll enter replay. And what you'll see here is we're all tiled. So I can still go through and I can still change what my program video is. But now I have the ability down here to scrub, and we're going to find wherever we want on that countdown. So say we really like when I have 4 fingers, professional wrestling, 4 horsemen. So we go down here and you can choose quarter speed, half speed, regular speed, and our favorite feature that we included is Benny Hill speed. That's 2 times. So if you really want to show something in faster than real time, we have the ability to do it. So you can decide here, okay, right when I go from 4 to 3, okay, that's when we want to do it. So I choose which camera I want. Now I mentioned we've had those transitions. I will say that this is a development build, so this should work. Give us a replay transition going into it, but we'll go ahead and test this out and see. So now we've got 4, 3. Now I can go through and change the angle anytime, or I can go back live. And when I go back live, it's going to play the transition back, and it's going to put any graphics that were on the screen back on the screen as well. So you keep your scoreboard. You don't have to take your scoreboard off, run the replay. take your Scoreboard back on, it will automatically do that for you here. So say, okay, actually, I want to go back further, really me rising my hand to when I was about to start with 5. That was what we really wanted to see. So I haven't exited this replay. So as long as I'm still in this replay, I can show it as many times as I want. So again, the transition comes in and we've got 5, 4. Now I can again change the angle and say we want to show this angle as well. And now we want to go back live to that camera. We can. And now we hit exit replay. And now we're ready for the next replay. So those are kind of the cool new features that we've included since launch. Obviously, replay has been a big deal for us, and now getting those transitions in also is going to be helpful. You have the ability there to title those, put in a graphic, so those can be just completely sponsored elements. This for this one, for instance, basically we just put a name, and it could be anything. We've got the image and the colors, and they can be completely customizable based on that. So I'll go ahead and pause here. Philip, Nick, do we have any questions?
No, I think we're good right now.
Nope, we're all good.
All right. Awesome.